For decades, science has basically told us that the human brain is a pretty flawed computer. You know the story. We're supposedly riddled with biases, logical fallacies, all these irrational bugs that stop us from making good, rational decisions. It's a compelling story for sure, but what if it's completely wrong?
Okay, so let's just play with a pretty radical idea for a second. What if those so-called errors aren't errors at all? What if they're actually features, the telltale signs of a completely different and, in a lot of ways, much more powerful kind of thinking? A new theory is emerging that says our brains aren't buggy classical computers, they're just running a totally different operating system.
So the conventional view, the one based on classical probability, holds up this rational ideal you see on the left. It's all about perfect logic, perfect consistency. The order you get information shouldn't change a thing. But then there's us, over on the right, in human reality. And it's messy, right? It's intuitive, it's super sensitive to context, and the order we hear things, it absolutely changes our minds. For years, we've basically been getting a failing grade for not living up to that ideal on the left.
But now there's a new way of looking at it: quantum cognition. And let's be super clear here. This isn't necessarily about tiny quantum particles physically bouncing around inside our neurons. It's about using the mathematics of quantum mechanics to describe the logic of how we think. It suggests our mind's operating system isn't based on the black and white certainty of bits, but on the fuzzy potential of qubits.
So, the first huge idea here is superposition. From a quantum point of view, before you make a decision, you're not just unsure which option you like better. Your preference literally doesn't exist yet. Instead, your mind is holding all the possibilities at once, in a state of pure potential. And here's the kicker. The act of choosing doesn't just reveal a preference you already had, it forces that preference into existence. It actually creates reality.
And that leads to the next cool idea: interference. Because these possibilities exist as waves of potential, they can interact. They can crash into each other and beef up a certain choice. That's called constructive interference. Or they can do the opposite and just cancel each other out. That's destructive interference. You ever feel totally frozen, just unable to make a choice? This might be why. The reasons to act might literally be canceling each other out inside your head.
This table really gets to the heart of it. On the left, classical thinking is all about sets, simple categories. On the right, quantum thinking is about geometry in these weird, abstract spaces. But forget all that for a second and just look at the last row, sequence. Classically, asking A then B is the same as asking B then A. But in the quantum model, it is not the same. The order you ask the questions fundamentally changes the answer. This one idea right here could explain so many of our supposed biases.
All right, so enough with the theory. Let's see how this new toolkit actually works in the real world. We're going to apply it to two of the most famous paradoxes in psychology. These are situations where classical logic just completely faceplants when trying to predict what we'll do. This is where those bugs start to look like brilliant features.
First up, the prisoner's dilemma. You probably know the setup. You and a partner get arrested. The best outcome for you, personally, is to rat out your partner while they stay quiet. And classical game theory is crystal clear about this. It says the only rational choice is to always defect, no matter what.
But of course, that's not what people do. Just look at this data. When people know their partner snitched, yeah, they snitched too, 97% of the time. When they know their partner stayed quiet, they still snitch 84% of the time. But, and here's the crazy part, when their partner's move is unknown, defection plummets down to 60%. This makes absolutely no sense in the classical world. Logically, the unknown case should be somewhere in the middle of the other two, not way lower than both.
And boom, this is a perfect illustration of quantum cognition at work. In that moment of pure uncertainty, the two main reasons to defect, I should defect because they defected, and I should defect because they cooperated, are in superposition. And in this particular setup, they create destructive interference. They literally weaken each other, which makes that third option, cooperation, suddenly look a whole lot better. The bug isn't a bug at all. It's a feature for dealing with uncertainty.
All right, next up, the famous Linda problem. This one's a real head-scratcher, so listen to this description. Linda's 31, single, outspoken, very bright. She was a philosophy major, and as a student, she was all about social justice. Now, here's the question. Which is more probable, that Linda is a bank teller, or that Linda is a bank teller and is active in the feminist movement?
A staggering 85% of people say it's more likely she's a feminist bank teller. Now, from a purely logical, classical perspective, this is a huge mistake. It's just simple set theory, right? The group feminist bank tellers is a smaller part of the bigger group bank tellers, so it just can't be more probable. But the quantum model looks at this and says, hold on, It's not a logic error, it's a sequence error. Here's how it works. First, that whole description primes your brain to think feminist. So when you hear the combined statement, you subconsciously judge the feminist part first, and that kind of rotates your mental state. And now from that new angle, the idea a bank teller just seems a bit more plausible than it did from your original starting point. The order you judged it in changed the outcome.
So, if this quantum framework is so good at explaining how we think, could we, use it to build better machines? Well, the answer seems to be yes. Researchers right now are reverse engineering these exact principles to create a new kind of quantum-inspired AI that can run on the computers we already have.
And the advantages are pretty incredible. This new kind of AI can handle ambiguity, which is a massive roadblock for classical systems. It can also learn way faster and with less data. And maybe most impressive of all, it lets teams of AI agents coordinate in really complex ways. They're essentially learning how to use a shared human-like intuition.
And I'm not just talking theory here. In natural language processing, AI models that keep the meaning of ambiguous words in superposition until the context clarifies things, well, they show a 22% jump in performance on really tough language tasks. They don't jump to the wrong conclusion because they're comfortable living with uncertainty for a moment.
And let's bring it all the way back to the prisoner's dilemma. If you put two classical AI agents in that situation, they're stuck in that rational logic. They betray each other every single time. But the quantum-inspired agents? They can use a sort of simulated entanglement to achieve a stable state of what's called super cooperation. They find the best possible outcome that pure logic just can't see.
All of this, it leads to a really profound question. We've seen that the math of quantum mechanics is an incredible metaphor for how the mind works. But what if it's more than just a metaphor? What if our brains are, in fact, actual quantum machines?
This is the core idea behind the very controversial OR theory. It suggests that real, actual quantum computing is happening deep inside these tiny structures in our neurons called microtubules. Now, for years, this idea was pretty much dismissed by most scientists. The biggest argument against it was always that the brain is just too warm, wet, and noisy to support something as delicate as a quantum state. But check this out. Brand new research just this year, in 2024, is starting to chip away at that. Scientists have found biological structures that seem to be able to shield these quantum states from all that noise. And even more startling, they've shown that anesthetics seem to work by directly disrupting these specific quantum processes. The evidence is building that something genuinely quantum might be going on.
So as we build these new quantum-inspired AIs that can handle uncertainty and cooperate in ways that feel almost human, it leaves us with one last mind-bending thought. Are we just programming a clever new kind of artificial intelligence? Or are we, after all this time, finally rediscovering the operating system of our own consciousness?